Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the day 3 of our bootcamp. Please confirm that you can hear me. Okay, thank you. So today, basically, what we are going to be doing is text extraction. We are looking at three scenarios. We are looking at text extraction, we are looking at text cleaning, and lastly, we are looking at lookups. So from the screen here, you can see a data with full name and staff ID, and other ones are blank, which means there are no informations on them. So this is what we are going to be doing. In most cases, as a data analyst, you will have names of in a particular data set. You may be having names of maybe sales reps or customers, or maybe employees and all of that in a particular column, but you'll be asked to separate them into different columns. So these are most of the things you'll be doing as a data analyst. So if you look at what you have here on the spreadsheet, you can see that the names are written in one column, which is full name. And our task today, they are asking us that we should separate the first name from the surname. So that is basically what we are going to be doing today. And the function we are going to be using to achieve this, we are also going to do what? To combine the names too. Maybe let us assume that in some cases you see first name and surname in a different column, and they're asking you that no, there is no need for we having it in a different column, or sometimes due to the analysis you want to do, you want to merge the names in one column, or to combine the names in one column. So we are going to also look at how to combine names. Maybe if they are separately in different columns, how do we combine them into one column? And the last thing we are going to do on this spreadsheet is to also see how we can combine first name and email address. So let us quickly go to what we're going to do today. So like I said, basically today we are going to look at some functions. We are going to look at the left function. We are going to look at the left function. We are going to look at the right function. We are going to look at the right function. We are going to look at what we call the learn function, and lastly we are going to look at what we call the find function. So these are some of the functions we'll be using here, and also we are going to look at what we call the concatenate. Concat. But if you are using an old version of Excel, you see it written this way: concatenate. It will be written concatenate instead of concat. So these are what we are going to be looking at today. So the first thing now, our task is to extract the first name from the surname. We should extract the first name from the surname. So we are going to begin our function by typing the left function. Like I said, what it does is to return the specified number of characters from the start of a text string. So it returns what? The specified number of characters from the start of a text string. So when we activate this function, you basically see that so like I said, what this function does is asking us for what? The text to extract. So in this case, our own text is where we have Tunde Adebayo. So that's the text we want to extract, and then we put our comma. It's asking us about the number of characters we want to extract from that text. Since we want to extract Tunde Adebayo, Tunde has what? Since we want to extract Tunde has how many characters? 5. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Tunde has 5 characters. We put 5. We'll put 5. Close our bracket and hit enter. We now have Tunde. But this is not giving us a perfect result because other names has more than 5 characters. You can see that for Tunde we have it gives us a correct number of characters. For Aisha, the same thing, but for Chinedu, he only give us Chine, extracting only 5 characters. For Blessing, he also extract only 5, which is blessed. For Ibrahim, he also extract Ibra, which is what? 5 characters. Which in this scenario, using only the left function will not solve the problem we are trying to solve here. But there are some cases that just the left function can do or can address the issue on ground. But like I told us, it depends the scenario you want to solve. But in this case, only the left function cannot address the issue. So we are going to next the next function with the find function. We are going to do what? Next the next function, the left function with the find function. So let us undo this one and type equals to what? Left. And then which text are we looking at? We are looking at Tunde Adebayo. We put comma. The number of characters, we ignore it. Type your function, which is the find function. So what does the find function does? It returns the starting position of one text string within another text string. Find is case sensitive. So it returns what? The starting position of one text string within another text string. When we activate this function or formula, it's asking us of the text to find. In this our case, we are looking for space. We are looking for what? Space between Tunde Adebayo. Between Tunde and Adebayo. The space between what? Tunde and Adebayo. That is the space we are looking at. Like I said, it depends what we are looking at. In our own case, we are looking for what? The text to find is the space between what? Tunde and Adebayo. So we put quotation, give space. We put quotation again, the double quotation. We put comma. So where are we looking for Tunde? The text, where are we looking for this space? This space, where are we looking it at? Where are we finding it? That's what they're asking us. Within text. So it's asking us, where are we finding this space? Where can we find this space? So our space can be found in this Tunde Adebayo. So we close our parentheses. We close 2 parentheses because we opened 2 brackets, parentheses before. So we close it and hit enter. So it now give us Tunde. You can see that other names are now written in full. We have Adebayo, Chinedu, we have Blessing, we have Ibrahim, we have Yetunde, we have Oluwaseun, and the rest of others. You can see that they are now written in full. So our formula, you can see it at the formula bar here. This is our formula at the formula bar. So we are moving quickly to what? We are moving quickly to extracting the son name. And in the son name, there are 2 things you can do. First is by typing the name itself, which is, we are looking to extract what? Adebayo. We want to extract Adebayo. So we just type Adebayo. We type Adebayo. And then we are going to do what we call flash fill. That is Ctrl E. So when we press Ctrl E, it is going to fill through other cells with the same name. You can see what has displayed here. It has automatically filled them through. So that is one way. Another way is to use formula, which is we are going to use, this is where we are now going to use the right function, the len function, and the find function. That is 3 functions we are going to nest together. So firstly, when you are extracting a text from the right, you use what? The right function. If you are extracting a text from the left, you use what? The left function. So now, since we are extracting Adebayo, because Adebayo is by the right, we are using what? The right function. So we type equals to right. So what does the right does? The right returns the specified number of characters from the end of a text string. So we activate our function. The text we are looking at is what? The text that hold the cell that holds Tunde Adebayo. We click and activate it. We put comma. It's asking us for number character, but we will ignore that for now because our aim is to look for something different. We now activate the len function. We call the len function. So the len function returns the number of characters in a text string. That is what it does. It returns what? The number of characters in a text string. So we activate the len function. It's asking us for the text to find. So we are our text is still what? Tunde Adebayo. That's the text we are looking at. So we close our parentheses. We now say minus. minus. We put the minus sign. What is that minus doing there? So the right function is looking for what? This name Tunde Adebayo within this same, it's looking for to extract Adebayo within this Tunde Adebayo, these two names. The length function will count the characters, all the characters between Tunde and Adebayo. How many characters? So when he has known all the characters between Tunde and Adebayo, he will not do what? Find. This is where we will not put our find function. He should find what? The space in between Adebayo and Tunde. We are looking for that space in between Adebayo and Tunde. So when he sees that space, he should do what? Within which text? This text. He should not subtract the space and the first name. He should do what? Subtract the space and the first name. When he is extracting from the right, which we are looking at Adebayo, he should count the number of characters, all that Tunde Adebayo contains, and then extract only what? Adebayo for us. We close our two brackets and hit enter. It now give us what? Tunde Adebayo in full, and other names too in full. So the next thing we are going to look at, is what? To combine all the names together. In some cases, your names are written in different cells. In different columns rather. Like we have first name here, son name here. In most cases, your names are written in separate columns. And as an analyst, there are some analysis you want to do that you want to combine those names. For example, you want to analyze sales by customers, but since this the first name and last name are sitting in different columns, you cannot just use one name to analyze, because anybody can be Tunde, anybody can be Aisha, anybody can be Chinedu. So it's only by combining these two names together that we actually know that, okay, it's Tunde Adebayo. So what we have to do is, we are looking at a function. This is where we are going to make use of what? The concat function. So we now use our concat equals to concat. Now what the concat does is to join two or more text strings together. Like I said, if you are using the old version of Excel, you are seeing this second one, which is the concatenate. That's what you are seeing. But this one now is a compatibility function. It's what? Compatibility function. It's not mostly used now because they have modified it, but Microsoft will not want to drop it completely, because there are other people in the previous that have built their report using this function. So if they drop it, your report will collapse. So that is why they are still leaving it there. So if you are calling out functions and you see any function with this warning sign that has a newer version, use the newer version instead of that one. So we now call our concat function. It's asking us for the text that we want to concatenate. First, we use the Tunde from the first name. We put comma. You have to ensure that you give a space. And for us to give a space, we are giving quotation, double quotation with a space in between. And then put comma. That double quotation with a space in between enables you to create a space between Tunde and Adebayo. So put comma. Is asking us for the text 3. We put Adebayo. We click on the son name which has Adebayo. We close our parentheses and hit what? Enter. We now have this name Tunde Adebayo, Aisha Bello, and the likes of others. So the next thing we are going to look at, is what? To combine first name with email address. To combine what? First name with email address. So the function we are going to use there is still concat. Though there are a lot of functions that we can use, that we can explore to achieve all of these, but this will not be discussed in this bootcamp. It will be in the subsequent bootcamp that is coming. We are going to discuss about a lot of other functions that can be used to achieve this same problem we are trying to solve. So we are going to use the concat again. There is a formula tool that is called the ampersand that you can use also to still achieve this, or text join. You can also use text join to achieve this same issue or this same problem. So we have a quite number of them. So we now type equal to concat, so the text to join is our first name, which is Tunde. We put comma, and then we click on our email address at the top. We close our bracket and hit what? Enter. What am I seeing? What are they saying? I've entered too many arguments at where? Let me see. Oh, instead of concat, I write quote. Sorry. So equals to concat. So they're asking us of the text, which is the first name, Tunde. We click enter. Sorry, comma. We now click on our email address. Our email address, we click on it. We close our parentheses and hit enter. It gives us this. But you can see that it has filled other ones. They are not giving us what we actually need. It has filled other ones through, but it's not what we need. But we are going to discuss about this in the next boot camp, about what we call referencing in Excel. We are going to discuss about what we call referencing. We have three types of reference. We have the absolute reference, we have the column constant, and the row constant. We have the absolute reference. We have four types of references. We have four types of references. We have the absolute reference, we have the relative reference, we have the column constant, and the row constant. The column constant and the row constant. But we are not going to discuss about this here. So we are going to discuss about that in our subsequent boot camp. So you can see that Tunde is written in uppercase. So what we need to do is to come here and next this function. I told us how to use the lower function, the upper function, and the likes of others. So in order to ensure that the T in Tunde is written in lowercase, we use what? Our lower function. Just edit it and write your lower function. Activate it, come and close the last bracket and hit enter. Our Tunde now is written in lowercase. It's written in lowercase, but there is a space in between. We are going to address that in the next boot camp, how you can remove that space between Tunde and at, because it was supposed to join together. So let's quickly move to text cleaning. That is the next thing we are going to be doing, the text cleaning. So you see our email now is tunde@trinitas.tech.com. Tunde@trinitas.tech.com. So let us move quickly to what? Text cleaning. Now this is where you'll be doing most of your job as a data analyst, most of your work as a data analyst. Most of the data set you'll be working with, they are not clean, they are messy. And it is your role or job as a data analyst to ensure that these data are properly clean and are good for analysis. Because if your data are not clean enough, you will not be able to make a proper analysis. So for you to make a proper analysis, you must ensure that your data are well clean. Your data are well clean and structured for analysis. So you can see from the full name how it is written. Let me zoom in a little so that you can see what is on the screen. You can see that there are a lot of problems with this data. Firstly, you can see Tunde Adebayo is written in uppercase, Aisha Bello is written both in uppercase and lowercase, Chinedu propercase, Funke Ogunleye is written in what? Lowercase, Sadiq Lawal is written in propercase, Blessing propercase, Ibrahim uppercase, and the likes of others. And not that only, we have spaces, leading spaces and trailing spaces. We have spaces before names, we have spaces after names, we have spaces in between names. Not just one space, a lot of them. Like now look at Ibrahim Sadiq. You can see that under Ibrahim Sadiq we have about how many? Let me count. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 spaces in between. So I told us about len function that is used to count number of character. So let us activate the practice using only the len function in this case to count how many number of character Ibrahim actually have. Ibrahim Sadiq have. We now type equals to len. We activate it. This text, which is Ibrahim Sadiq, we close and hit enter. It's now giving us 20 characters under Ibrahim Sadiq. Why? Ibrahim has how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. While Sadiq have 5, which is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. In all, we're supposed to have what? 12. But it's giving us 20. Why? Because of the spaces in between. So you have to know all of these as a data analyst to be able to function effectively. To be able to do what? Function effectively, you have to know all of this. So now let us come back. Our task here, they are telling us that we should eliminate unwanted spaces. That's the first thing we are going to do. We should do what? Eliminate unwanted spaces from the names. We are going to use a function called what? The trim function. We are going to use what? The trim function. So what does the trim function does? The trim function removes all spaces from a text string except for single spaces between words. The trim function does what? Remove all spaces from a text string except for single spaces between what? Words. That is a single space that separates Tunde and Adebayo. That is the only space it will leave. If it is single, but if it is double, it will still reduce it to become a single space. So both the leading and trailing spaces, the trim function will remove them. So we activate our trim function, and which text are we looking at? This text, this text, Tunde Adebayo. That is what we are looking at. So we click on it, close our parentheses, and hit enter. So you can see that it has removed all the trailing spaces and the leading spaces in these names. But then it is still not good for analysis. You can see that some are still written in upper cases, some mix of upper cases and lower cases, some are written in proper cases, some are written in lower cases, which is still not good for analysis. So the next task they ask us to do here is to do what? That we should write names in upper case. We should write all of them in what? Upper case. Name written in upper case. So there is another function we are going to use, which is called what? The upper function. The upper function. So we type equal to upper. So what the upper function does, it converts a text string to all upper cases, or to all uppercase letters. So we convert what? A text string to all uppercase letters. So we activate our upper function, click on Adebayo, close our bracket, and hit enter. So you can see that all the names are written in what? Uppercase. They are all now written in what? Uppercase. The next task we are asked to do is what? We should write our names in lowercase. Name written in lowercase. That we should write all our names in lowercase. So there is another function also that is called what? The lower function. The lower function. So what does the lower function does? The lower function converts all letters in the text string to what? Lowercase. It converts what? All letters in the text string to what? Lowercase. So we activate what? Our lower function. And then the text we are looking at here is Tunde Adebayo. We click on Tunde Adebayo, we close our parentheses and hit enter. You can see that all our text now is written in what? Lowercase. It's written in lowercase. Tunde Adebayo, Aisha Bello, and the likes of others. They are all written in lowercase. So our next task that we are asked to do, they said we should do what? We should write names in proper case. Name written in proper case, which is the proper things to do. You know, names of people are proper nouns, and proper nouns are written first alphabet in capital letter. So that is what we are going to do, was to standardize the names to be written in proper case. So there is a function also called what? The proper function. The proper function. So we type our equality sign, we type proper. So you see that we have proper function here. So what does the proper function does? They say proper function converts a text string to proper case, the first letter in each word to uppercase and all other letters in lowercase. We activate our proper function. we click on Tunde Adebayo that is written in lowercase, close our bracket and hit enter, you can now see that Tunde Adebayo is written in what? In proper case. Tunde Adebayo is written in proper case, and every other names are written in what? Proper case. Every other names are written in what? Proper case. The last one here is name written properly and trim. This one will require you to use what? The proper function and the trim function. So you can try that by yourself. That is for your exercise. You can try that by yourself. Names written properly and trim, which will require you to next the proper function and the trim function. That is, you are using the same full name to write them in proper and then trim them. That is what they are asking you. So you come here and use your full name, change it to proper and trim it at the same time. So that is for your exercise. You can explore that by yourself and see what you can do. So the last thing we are going to look at is the lookup functions. The lookup functions. And in this case, we are not going to talk more about that. We are just going to look basically at two lookup functions, which is the VLOOKUP and the XLOOKUP. The XLOOKUP. We are looking at the VLOOKUP and the XLOOKUP. These are the only lookup functions we are going to look at in this class. But in the subsequent bootcamp, which is coming up soon, we are going to explore other lookup functions like the lookup itself. We have the match, we have the index, and the likes of others. We are going to look at them one after the other and explain them in detail. So if you look at the spreadsheet here, you can see one table by your left hand side that has the staff ID, the full name, state, and salary. And if you look at your right hand side, you see another table that has the staff ID, but the full name, there are no values written on them. The last name too, the state, there are also no value written on them. And the salary, there are no values also written on them. So we are going to use what? The lookup function. And like I said, basically we are going to look at the the VLOOKUP and the XLOOKUP. That is what we are going to use to extract these values. So lookup function in Excel, the lookup function in Excel are formula used to search for values in a range and return a corresponding value from another cell. They are built for retrieving data efficiently, especially from tables. Like I said, lookup function in Excel are formulas used to search for a value in a range and return a corresponding value from another cell. So they are built to do what? To retrieve data efficiently, especially from tables. Now we are looking at what? The VLOOKUP. We are looking at the VLOOKUP. So the VLOOKUP searches for a value in the first column of a table and returns a value from another column in the same row. Pay attention. The VLOOKUP searches for a value in the first column of a table and returns a value from another column in the same row. Now we have staff ID. The value you are searching for, which is our staff ID that we are using to search, must also be in the table you are searching for that value. What I mean is, these values you want to search must also be in this table you want to search. You are searching for the value, so they must also be here. If they are not here, there is no way you can retrieve anything. So whatever value you are using as your lookup value must also be in the table you are trying to retrieve a value from. So now they are telling us that VLOOKUP searches for a value in the first row, in the first column. So this is the first column, which is column A. So it will search for the value whatever value we apply here as our lookup value, we will come and search it at this staff ID. If he has found it, it will now return a value from another word column. Like now, if we want to search for the name, it will now, if he has seen this ID, it will now come to this next column to search for the name that has this ID and then return it. But it will be what? In the same role. In the same role. So let's go to practical. Let's look for the full name in this other table. We type our VLOOKUP. The VLOOKUP is doing what? Asking us for the lookup value. Like I said, lookup value is that value you already have, that value you already know. That becomes what? Your lookup value. So that value you already know, that thing you already know, that you are using it to search for another thing that you don't know, is your lookup value. It may not be staff ID, may be any other thing, but that value you know that is also in the other table that you are using it to search for that which you don't know is your lookup value. In our case, this staff ID is our lookup value. We click on staff ID, we put comma. It's now asking us for what? Table array. The table array, our table array is the entire table that contains the information we are looking for. We click on this first row, which has the first column, which has the staff ID. Press your Control Shift, right arrow, down arrow to select the whole table. You now put your comma. Then the column index num, the column index number is the column number that your return value is sitting. In this case, our staff ID is column 1. Where we have our full name is column 2. So that becomes our column index number. Pay attention. Our staff ID is in column 1. The value we are trying to return is in column 2. That is where we have our full name. So we now type our 2 and put comma, type comma. It's now asking us either a true value, which is approximate match, or a false value, which is exact match. So we are looking for exact match. We type 0. 0 represents what? Exact match. We now close our bracket and hit enter. It returns what? Tunde Adebayo. You can fill it through down. The next thing we are going to look at here is what? The state. We are going to look at the state. We also type again the lookup function. The lookup function is also asking us again for what? The lookup value. Our lookup value still remain what? The staff ID under Tunde Adebayo. We put comma. It's asking us for the table array. We still come back to our table, click on the table, the first cell, Control Shift, right arrow, down arrow, and then put comma. Your column index num. In this case, our column index num becomes 3. If you count your table, starting from your lookup value, the value you are looking up, staff ID, which is column 1, your full name column 2, your state column 3. We type 3. We put comma. It's asking us for what? Either approximate match or exact match. We're looking for exact match. We put 0, which represents exact match. We close our parentheses and hit enter. We return Tunde Adebayo from Cross River. It's telling us that Tunde Adebayo is from where? Cross River. The next thing we are going to do here, we are looking for a salary. You can fill down, like I said, you can fill it down. We are looking for the salary. We type our equality sign, lookup, VLOOKUP. The VLOOKUP is still asking us for what? The lookup value. We type our staff ID, comma, the table array. We click on our table, Control Shift, down, up, right arrow, down arrow, comma, exact match, which is 0, close and hit enter. we now have, what did I type that is giving me error? Sorry, let me observe something. What did I type? Oh, sorry, I didn't type the column index num. So our column index num is what? Number 4 in this case. We put comma, then our exact match, which is 0. 0 represent what? The exact match. So we close our bracket and hit enter. So it now give us 4,551,626 naira. So that is what we now have. So you can fill through. If you fill it down to some extent, you'll be having this thing. So we now fill it down. You fill every other one down if you want to. I'm just giving you an example that you can do. You can now see their names and where they are coming from. You see here we have Blessing Eze from Enugu. Let's see here, Blessing Eze from Enugu. You can also see Blessing Eze from Enugu here, Blessing Eze from Enugu here. So how about the salary? So the salary of Blessing Eze, let us confirm, which is 4,385,597, and it's still the same thing from this end. But then take note of this. In some cases, your other table will not be, the other table you are searching value from may not be in the same spreadsheet, may be in different spreadsheets. But the thing is, when once you understand this approach, you can also do, it's just the same thing. Just the difference is that the other one is in a different sheet, this one is in a different sheet. So it's still the same approach you are going to apply. So when once you understand it, you will understand everything. So now let us look at how we can use the XLOOKUP, which is the baba of all of them. XLOOKUP is what? The baba of all of them. So XLOOKUP replaces, not that it replaces, but when once you know it, you may not definitely need to use a VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP. XLOOKUP can do anything that VLOOKUP can do or HLOOKUP can do. So XLOOKUP is the baba of all of them. So let us now look at our XLOOKUP. We say equals to. So now let me just give us a definition of what XLOOKUP does. So XLOOKUP, the XLOOKUP searches for value in a specified range and returns a matching value from another range, allowing searches in any direction with exact match by default. So now let us look at the XLOOKUP in practical. We type our XLOOKUP, hit enter. XLOOKUP is asking us for what? Lookup value. We type our lookup value, which is the staff ID, comma. The next thing is asking us is lookup array. Pay attention. Pay attention. When we're using VLOOKUP asks us for what? Table array, which we selected the entire table. But XLOOKUP is asking us for what? Lookup array. Pay attention. Lookup array is different from table array. Table array is the entire portion of table where you are looking for your values. Now, lookup array is that column that has your lookup value. That column that has what? Your lookup value. Only that column that has your lookup value. You are not selecting the entire table like we did in the VLOOKUP. This one is just for you to select that table alone that has what? Your lookup values. In our case, is the staff ID column that has what? Our lookup values. So that becomes what? Our lookup array. We click on it, Control Shift down arrow, and then we put comma. It's now asking us for what? The return array. In this case, we don't need to put column index num. It automatically, XLOOKUP automatically take care of all of those ones. You don't need to manually put them. So it's asking us for the return array. So the return array is that column that you want to return something from. That column you want to return something from. So in our case, we want to return what? Full name. So the full name column becomes what? Our return array. You select the column, Control Shift down arrow, you put comma, and it's asking us if we cannot find what we are looking for, what should we return? That is value if not found. If we cannot find what we are looking for, what should we return? This X lookup gives us a provision to type something to say, okay, if you did not see what I'm looking for, return me this. So what I'm going to do here is to type, if you cannot find what I'm looking for, return that not found, which means you did not see what you are looking for. And I put comma, not found. Like I told us in the previous classes, when you are typing something in a formula, a text in a formula, always enclose it in a quotation. Always enclose it in a quotation. If you don't enclose it in a quotation, your formula will run into error. So always enclose it in a quotation. So when I type not found, we put comma. It's asking us for the exact match, either exact match or next similar item. So, and the likes of others. But in our case, we're looking for what? The exact match. So we will type 0, which represents exact match. We close our parentheses and hit enter. It now gives us what? Tunde Adebayo. You can fill it down if you want. If you don't, you can leave it, depending on what you want to do. So we look at the same state. State is still the same thing. We use what? Equals to X lookup. Our lookup value, which is Tunde Adebayo, where our staff ID is sitting. Sorry, the staff ID 001. That is our lookup value. Our lookup value, yes. We put comma. It's asking us for the table array. We select, the lookup array rather. The lookup array. We come to our staff IDs, Control Shift down arrow to select. We put comma. It's asking us from what? The return array. So the return array is what? We're looking for state. We click on the column that has state, Control Shift down arrow, we put comma, and then it's asking us if we cannot find what we are looking for, what should we return? I can also say put not found, but I can still put comma and go to what? If I don't want to put anything, just go to what? Exact match, which is 0. Exact match, which is 0. Close my bracket and hit enter. We have crossover like this. So you can exploit the sliding column by yourself. You can try that out by yourself, the sliding column. So I think this is what we are going to draw the cutting line for today, and by tomorrow, by God's grace, we are going to do some pivot tables and then try to build a dashboard if time permits us, because tomorrow class will be the last class for Excel. Tomorrow class will be what? The last class for Excel, and then we'll continue by next weekend for the Power BI class. By next weekend we'll be going straight to Power BI. So today now is the last class. Tomorrow will be the last class for Excel. So by God's grace, I will see how we can try as much as possible to see how we can do some pivot table and try to build a dashboard within the next 1 hour, within the 1 hour that we have. So I think all of that we're going to see how we can finish them. So please, if you have any challenge, try to always reach to us at the community. Reach to us at our WhatsApp group. That's why we are always there for you. So if you have any challenge, try to ensure that you get to us so that we can rectify whichever issue you have. I always tell us to always practice. If you don't practice and assume that you know, you come to discover that when you see something like this that you're supposed to do, you discover that you will not even know anything. You will not even know how to solve it. So always try to do something. Once we finish our class, try to do something on your own. If you then encounter any issue, try to reach out to us. We are always there to provide answers. So always try to do something small. Practice, like they say, it makes perfect. So thank you so much for being in our today's class. Thank you so much for always finding time to participate in this boot camp. And I assured you that at the end of this boot camp, you will never be the same as you came by the grace of God. We are trying our best to ensure that we give you, despite that it's a free boot camp, but we are trying our best to ensure that we give you the quality that you deserve, not the quantity. So thank you so much and have a wonderful night rest. See you again same time by tomorrow. Thank you and good night. Bye.